Hi there, welcome. Welcome to Amplifying Your Voice in Digital Spaces. And my special guest today is Olivia Arnold. I am excited about this session. Hi, Olivia.
Hi, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
I could hear you okay, just fine. Thanks for joining us. I would just letting them know for those that will be joining us here shortly that you are my special guest. I'm so looking forward to this session. I am looking forward to it in a sense of not only the validity, but at the same time hearing it, their minds, their mindset, their consciousness, the depth, or their viewpoints of how they see it, view themselves as a brand or as a voice in digital spaces. Hi, Maisha, how are you? She's on mute. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining
Hey.
us. Hi. And Olivia, do you mind introducing yourself just a little bit and let us, our audience, know who you are?
Yes, absolutely. And again, thank you again for inviting me on. I'm excited. I'm honored as well for the article. Yeah, I am a kingdom coach. I help build the confidence and the voice in women leaders. I help women leaders. I help cope with women coaches. And I also work with those in ministry and helping them ignite and also find their voice online. And many women come to me because they don't know where to start. But then we quickly find out that one of their issues is dealing with comparison, or they're dealing with inadequacy, or they're dealing with overwhelm, or just imposter syndrome. And so before we even really get started, I find myself trying to, or not even trying to, breaking those things off. And it is, sometimes it can be a try, only because you have to be prepared, and the people on the other end have to make a decision that they're ready to relinquish those things. And so I've been able to help many women find their voice, find their confidence and their clarity, as well as their creativity in digital spaces. I help them tell their story and help position them as leaders or subject matter experts in their areas of expertise or in their passion. And I help them monetize those things in digital products as well. So if they're looking to develop ebooks or courses or something like that, or even just help them develop their first program, I help them do that as well. And not on a large scale, but it's really to get their fire started. I like to call myself the fire starter coach as well on the interim, just because I help ignite that fire to help them get going and to continue going. So that's a little bit about me. And I've been doing that for the last 2 years, but I've been doing brand development and websites and those things for the last 10. And so brand identity, that's not new to me. It just is kind of, it's pivoted into what was just brand development to now developing of people and their identities. And so it's pretty awesome. It's definitely starts off as serving and then equipping in the interim of that. So that's a little bit about me.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're
Here
welcome.
recently, we just released our first issue of Leaders Who Lead Differently, and you were one of our contributing voices. And you not only spoke, but was able to share your pulse, your heart on the matter of the validity of amplifying your voice in digital spaces. Why that topic, amplifying your voice in digital spaces?
Well, the topic was very, for me, it's very personal. One, because I know firsthand what it's like to feel muted. I know firsthand what it's like to be shut out and to not understand your identity, and also to have a false identity. And when you have a false identity, you really are not using your authentic voice, nor are you really going out and amplifying it, because you just don't know who you are. And one of the things that had really been released to me is that this is just a time where that many are muzzled and muted, and that God needs He needs us to open up our mouths and begin to speak. He needs us. He needs the Redeemer of the Lord to say so. He is looking for us who have been through different situations to help those on one side get to the next side. And we cannot do that if we don't begin to speak and our voices be amplified. Many of us have spent years looking for platforms or opportunities for people to open up doors when we're scrolling through the door all day, every day. And digital space, there's also many of us saying that we're called to the nations, and what can be more national, more global than technology and social media. And so I know how imperative it is right now for I serve women, especially for women to really to begin to arise and to use their voices. And obviously, we're in a very interesting time with just women in general. But that it became very personal to me when I put myself in it and noticed and recognized the women that came to me were dealing with some of the issues that I've dealt with and overcame as well, and been able to speak.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And you mentioned about making room, or and you know how we say it in Christendom, your gift will make room for you. And we so focus on the doors, the windows, and the longevity of those doors, and the, when we call it, favors that's attached to those doors. But you also said that your authenticity opens the door and um, create it where one will be able now to listen yet to your voice. So what I said that to say this: we tend to focus on the gift and we deny or forget the essence or the substance of us. And I'm glad that you tapped or touched on that again, because it deals with perception and our lens of thing, and we focus on the gift, the gift, the gift. We could have the gift yet, but we don't have the substance that meshes with us. And then we could have a sound and not a voice, or we could have a voice and or we could have a mouthpiece and still not a sound that will echo or reverberate the substance based on it being cultivated. And it goes back to what you said, being authentic. And now I'll open the floor to anyone that would like to have add or contribute to what Olivia have said thus far. And if you'd like to, you could just raise your hand or unmute your mic. Okay. Thank you so much. You also said that the pain points that highlights our life into building yet ministry and or our business that we experience praying points. I love the way you said that, because we look at it as, and we label it as failures, or I messed up. And then sometimes those pain points, as you call it, it could it could take us back. The impact could take us back to the point that we don't know how to get up, how to press forward, and how to move forward, because we just keep those experiences before us. And for those that are amplified voices in digital spaces, you have to be that voice that resonates and also be an echo or vibrates, making some noise, if you will. What was a pain or pain points for you that you know that you had to continually be that voice?
So that is only, I think only you could really summarize that like that. But I think one of the pain points that I experience, and I use it today, is um, one, not knowing who I was, not feeling accepted, I should say,
Mhm.
and that being enough to be able to make an impact. And I actually posted about this today. Um, and so I kind of like, I think one of the biggest things that I did was begin to hone in on my experiences and recognize that the things that I categorized as failure were not failure. They really were just a setup for this moment, because what I recognize is that if I had never gone through some of the things that I do now call pain points, that I would not be relevant to those that I'm called to, that my voice is called to. And I think that many people, that if we don't embrace those pain points, if we don't embrace the things or experiences that we have looked at in life or that we've dealt with in life, then we could be missing an opportunity to minister or to help push somebody else through. And so one of my biggest issues, like I said, was me not feeling enough, me not feeling like I had enough. And that was definitely really the foundation or the root of that, was because I dealt with identity issues, and I dealt with identity issues my entire life. And therefore, I did not know who I was. I did not know what I carried. I did not know how my voice echoed or how someone else would resonate with that. Until I allowed myself to, it was a decision. You have to really learn to make a decision that I am somebody, and recognizing your identity in Christ and who He has called you to be. And so I made a decision in that. And then at that point, when I just continued to move forward, and other people would just come to me and say, hey, that resonated, or hey, I went through that. Thank you for being able to be open and to be vulnerable and to be authentic. Then I began to understand the weight of my own voice. And I always tell people that sometimes your voice is called. I say your voice is not called, excuse me, but it's for a particular kind of people. The frequency, the cadence of your voice is for a particular people group. It's not going to be for everybody. But it was very comforting for me to know that what I had and how I gave it, and all the unique identifiers that was connected to those things, the pain of the experiences, and all those circumstances that made up the very essence of who I am, was for a particular people group. And so those are really like the pain points that I focused on, and also that I use in my own coaching business as of today.
And I'm glad you said it like that, because what came to me was that even though we're trying to embrace our identity, we become overwhelmed or um, overwhelmed by what we see, because we tend to visualize and compare ourselves to the other visions or visionaries, because we're looking for that place or space that we could say, oh, that's me. Because of some of us don't, and I said us, being that we are in the marketplace, and still we're in a place where we're still trying to get settled or adjust. We're still looking for a mirror reflect of what we're birthing or what we're carrying in these spaces. And so we're comparing, because the keyword you said, identifying, but yet based when you identifying who you are and embracing who you are, some are still caught up in that spiral of now looking or for that vision that reflects them. And we will quickly, and I said we will quickly deny who we are, deny the gifting, deny the part of the history as historian of what we're supposed to implement based on our legacy, because we're looking for something that we could relate to or resonate with. And I'm glad you said that, because we could be so busy looking, projecting, and we don't have roots, we don't have legs, we don't have arms. So when we take the time to cultivate who we are, to recognize, like you said, the cadence or the frequency of who we are. So thank you so much. That was so rich. Again, I'm going to open the floor. Do anyone have someone to add or contribute to this powerful segment? Okay. And we're moving forward. You mentioned um, we're dealing with how do you say that, and how do you say, and how do you know that you were different. Of course, you touched on the authenticity of who you are, but you also mentioned the influence of your voice. And I hear the word shrinkage and or based on rooting shrinkage, because sometimes we could shrink ourselves without knowing it, based on how we think and yet process who we are, based on acceptance. So how do one become that voice and not become the noise? Become the voice and not become the noise in that space where we're supposed to make a mark.
So this may tie in a bit with what you just said previously, but I think in order to become the voice and not the noise, you have to really walk it out. You can't just, because it's easy to, if I can be honest, it's easy to look at yourself and see yourself in somebody else. Because a lot of times when we don't want to be the voice and we don't know we're the voice, we find ourselves in someone else first, and we see that there's room for us, because we now kind of have languaging to who we are. Many people that deal with amplifying their voice, they don't, no one has ever really known exactly what to do with them. And therefore they don't know what to quite do with themselves. Right. And so now they're trying to find their identity, or trying to find what it looks like if they were to pick up and move, and to begin to walk out the things that God has given them to walk out, or to use their voice. And so you find yourself in somebody. And so it could be really easy to put yourself in their shoes and begin to carry out what their gifting and what their oil, what their anointing is, and or even beginning to compare yourself, and now you're not being authentic, you're not being true to yourself. And so then you become noise, you just become another sound that's reverberating somebody else's sound. And so I think if you're going to truly be able to be the voice, you have to be walking it out. You have to be real. You have to be transparent. There's going to be times you have to be vulnerable. I'm not saying you have to tell everybody everything, because it's not everybody's business what everything is, but you have to find a way to put yourself in the shoes of other people. And so they're able to identify with, I'm sorry, not identify, but find the relevancy in what your voice is offering, in the whatever sphere of influence that you're in. And so you have to be able to walk out and in your walk out in all truth, who you are. Don't fake it. People always say fake it to make it, and I don't believe in that. Don't fake anything. Just be real, be you, because right where you are, somebody needs who you are right where you are. You might not think it's enough, you might not recognize it enough, it might not feel like it's enough, but it's enough. And so that's the only way, I believe, in my own personal opinion. There could be someone else that thinks something else, but in my opinion is to, in order to be the voice, and to take dominance and take up the dominion, be real, live it out, walk it out in your truth and not somebody else's, not because of what you've seen somebody else do.
Yeah, thank you for that, because we could tend to cultivate ourselves in learning a service to package and still don't have the confidence to push that product. And when we don't get the hits or the recognition or the likes, then we tend to ball up in a knot. Why? Because we're not getting the likes, we're not getting the interest, and um we're not getting that push as to, I'd like to know more about your product. So when you said that, that's what came to me based on us creating, cultivating ourselves, and learning that new software, learning the services that would help us to be able to package yet ourselves. Um, we have to be open for not getting that response, not getting those likes, not getting, because I said that to say